It's your man CJ, aka the High Value Nurse, checking in once again back. Yeah, we haven't done this in a while. I am here with a special guest today. Her name is the Recoverist. I know y'all haven't seen the split screen in a while with the whole interview, but I'm getting back to that. I know life been busy, but I'm getting slowly getting back into it. So I want to introduce my guest. Please put your hands together, even though we can't hear it, but put your hands together for the Recoverist in the building. How you doing?
Hello, hello, hello. Hello to everyone. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, my pleasure, my pleasure. So this whole thing started from a video that you made. But before we get into that, let me just ask, tell the people about you. I like the name The Recoverist. It's different, something different. I've never heard that before. I've heard of recovery, recovering addicts
Mhm.
or something like that, but The Recoverist. Can we get into that name and how you came up with that?
Sure, sure. Because I'm a spiritual life coach. And so I do counseling, couples counseling, spiritual counseling as well. But I also was working with, people in recovery from alcohol and drug addiction. But, as as you probably are very familiar with, especially in nursing, there's all kinds of addictions, right? So there's food addiction, there's sex addiction, there's love addiction, there's so many different addictions that when I was looking for, people would ask me, well, what are you or what do you do? And the recoverers kind of came to me from spirit as a person to help people recover, right? To help people to transition from a place of pain into a place of healing and to recover from whatever, whether it's trauma, whether it's drug addiction or what have you, to help people to recover, find themselves, and get to know themselves and reconnect with their soul. So that's where that recoverist name came from, and it's what I do, and it's what I love to do, and see people to recover from various life challenges.
Oh yeah, that's fire. I definitely like that name. That sounds like an R&B singer or something like that. I dig that. But you were talking about like a spiritual from a spiritual aspect. What led you down the road or the path to become the recoverist? What led you down that path to actually do what you do and take that kind of interest in people and make you want to help them?
Wow, that's an awesome question. So it's a mantle, right, that got passed down. So my great grandmother was a pastor's wife and then became pastor, and then my grandparents were pastors, and then my mother was a pastor, and then so it's a mantle that runs in my family. I come from a lineage of strong matriarchal women who were always confidants, the people everybody came to for advice. We were always the ones that, um, from a church and religious perspective, that people came to for prayer, for deliverance, for recovery, for what have you. So it kind of passed down. It was something that I wanted to at different times run away from, but no matter where I am, people find me. Even at work, I'm in a one-on-one with a boss or something, and I'm counseling them. So it's like it finds me. My energy calls to people, and then they respond, and I have to be there to help them. So it's something that I can't get away from. It's my calling. Just like you were called to nurse and to nurture and to give life and protect life and heal. That's the same way I feel about helping people.
Has it been like that like your whole life? Are you like generally like a people person? Are you like outgoing? Because one thing that I've noticed is that people who tend to be out there to help the people, usually they're some of the most introverted people. So I was just wondering, like, have you always been that person or did you have to grow into something like that?
Yeah, so I am very introverted and so like when my phone rings, I know who it is. Typically it's an appointment. I know, it's because I don't have a lot of interaction with people outside of, whether it's counseling or which is like all the time it feels like, but still it's a controlled environment and controlled engagement with people. Because to your point, I prefer to be at home, or traveling with my husband and not so much with a lot of people. But, it's like I said, I can't escape it. And so even, I could be in a grocery store, or somebody could be waiting on me, and something come up, and then I'm helping them or giving some advice in the weirdest of places and opportunities, because my gift kind of finds me. But yeah, to your point, I am definitely what I would consider an introvert by nature.
Yeah. I call myself the most introverted extrovert out like in the world
Yeah, I
because
dig that.
I like my space, but I don't mind being out there. I don't mind being with the people and everything like that. But I truly do prefer my space. Um,
Yeah,
but again, those are usually the people who are the ones going out there doing the work. And
exactly.
one thing that I noticed that you said is that, you can rewrite your own story or your story may need rewriting. So when did
Mhm.
you realize that your own story may have needed rewriting?
Wow. So that's the beauty, right, of life, is that you can rewrite your story. It doesn't matter what you've done. It doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter how many times you messed up, how many times you've fallen. You can't, and even how many times you've gotten it right. You can still rewrite your story at any point. And and that was what I had to learn, was that a lot of what I was doing, especially as it relates to relationship, was I was running on a loop, right? Of I kept dating the same guy over and over, and in my case, marrying the same guy over and over. So I've been married 3 times, and I'm really proud of that. And people like, you proud of it? Yeah, I'm proud of it, because first of all, I'm wifey. They gonna wife me. They gonna put a ring on it. But I didn't know how to pick, right? Nobody taught me. And so the first person that I actually I got married the first time when I was 17 years old. And the guy that I married was jealous. He
Mm.
was possessive. He was 10 years older than me. So he was controlling. He was a lot of things that we wouldn't find as healthy attributes in a partner from a mature space. But because that was what I was introduced to, that was how I identified love to be. And so I kept finding myself in chaotic relationships. And the recoverist in me, even at such a young age, wanted to heal this guy, help this guy. He's broken. He's done. I want to help him. I want to, if I love him enough, he'll change, that kind of stuff. And then I had to get to a point of self reflection where I was able to look and see the different patterns that I was running in the programming, because I had got programmed really early that, if he loves me, he'll you know, be crazy. If he's not crazy, he must not care. And so I had to, once I got the maturity and the awareness that, hey, I don't have to keep, running this cycle. I can change this. Then I was able to consciously dismantle and understand what my patterns were, and then rewrite them. And so now I'm in a marriage that we just celebrated 10 years together,
Like,
and so now I'm in a marriage where we don't argue, we don't fight. I don't have any of those things that I was so used to and mistakenly calling love. And I've learned it through my work on how to show others how to do the same. Right. Because now I
mm,
have some experience to draw from, not just on how to find somebody, not just how to make somebody happy, but how do you um, find what's best for you and what works for you in a healthy way, so that you have the opportunity to be successful long term. So that was my epiphany when I kept making the same mistake over and over. I was like, I got to change this. I got to rewrite this. Something
you know
has to
what?
change.
I like and congratulations on being married for 10 years. That's really
Thank
dope.
you.
Um, but you were saying something, just how you just said rewriting, and I'm kind of learning that myself. because I
Okay.
even put out a video today about how, like, what was the breaking point? Not breaking point, but what was the moment that shifted my mindset about nursing in general. And to make a long story short, I was working and I had a patient that I was taking care of. And he asked for like another, because he was getting eye drops once a day. He wanted another eye drop administration. And when you're working in assisted living, everything has to be approved through the doctor. Everything. I
Okay.
don't care if it's Tylenol.
Mm,
So we went back to the nurse station. The other nurse called the doctor. The doc said, okay, he approved it. Um, and then they had a third party company that would distribute the medication. They were called MedTechs. And we had to call their company so they could add it to their list and add it to their, we call it a MAR, a medical administration record. Um, so the company was like, okay, fine. We just have to let him know that it'll be an extra $650 just for
mm,
one eye drop. In that moment, I don't know why, but it was that moment that really shifted my whole mentality
mm,
on nursing and what I really wanted to do, and like the trajectory of my career and the
mm,
things that I wanted to do literally changed in that moment because I started thinking about everything else that I had seen and experienced as a nurse, like how these companies are getting $10,000 for a
mm,
patient, but they're not getting the best care and everything like that. And I don't want to get too deep, but it just made me realize that with them getting all that money, us, the workers, the nurses, we getting pennies on the dollar. But also
mm,
made me understand that this is their game. And I just had to figure out, okay, how do I play within their game to create my own? And now I'm rewriting my whole thing because essentially my whole identity on YouTube is the high value nurse. So now it's changing. And I mean, it's evolving because now I've seen things and I'm just like, yes, I'm grateful for being a nurse. And um, I love the fact that I do hospice nursing because honestly, I think hospice really has saved my career. It's gotten me to the point to where I can tolerate it and actually really enjoy it because it's the most fulfilled that I've felt since I became a nurse. And but now I'm on a wealth building journey, not so much
mm.
being a nurse journey. I'm on a wealth building journey and running my own. And I literally have to rewrite everything that I thought I was going to do as a nurse. I have to rewrite it now because I, in good conscience, can't sit up here and slave for them and achieve all these accolades, knowing that it's just to make them more money. I couldn't even sleep that night when I found out that that man was
Mhm,
getting charged $650 for an eye drop.
mhm,
He just couldn't do it himself. 600, and I said it was that moment that changed everything. But not to go off on a long rant, but that's why I was really digging that rewriting because that's literally what I'm in the middle of doing now, just rewriting the narrative because you know whatever they're fine with as nurses, cool, you do you, but I gotta do me. So
So, and not to
yeah.
slide off a tangent, but just to kind of respond to what you just said,
Uh-huh.
that's the whole point. People
Hmm.
say, ask themselves, I don't know, why am I here? What am I, supposed to do? What is my life for? Whatever. It's for that. It's for that moment and what you do in that moment when you have that epiphany that, hey, there's more for me, there's more. So whatever it is that you choose to do or what and pivot, you can totally do an about face and decide. You can even decide that, you know what, nursing was great, but now I want to be a doctor. You can, it's your it's your story. And the whole point is to do what serves you, what brings you joy, what brings you purpose. And you're absolutely right to do that. So just go it within because the answers are always inside. And God will show you and give you direction on how to take your career in the next direction, even if it's still within the realm of nursing, but at some higher level or whatever, still to fulfill your purpose and your calling. But there's greater things out there for you.
I appreciate that, and I believe that. Um,
Yes.
Now to get back to the relationships when we talking about domesticated relationships, why do you
Okay.
think people tend to keep attracting the same type of person? Because normally, like I will have this conversation with my lady sometimes, and then like I would tell her like sometimes some people like I don't want to make it a sexist thing, but I'm just gonna use this as an example. I say like sometimes some women create the men that they hate, that they claim that they hate. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
When it comes to their sons and how they raise their sons and their daughters and everything like that. So
Oh.
do you think some people keep running back to that same type of that prototype? Is it because they're comfortable? Is it because they don't want to change? Or what do you think?
A lot of times people are not attracting people; they are attracting familiar pain.
Mm,
So
okay.
this is familiar. This is what I've been exposed to. So this must be how it is. And if you couple that with lack of, a healthy vision to compare it to,
Mm,
right? They don't teach you in school. We don't go to relationship school. We don't have relationship class. You learn, you get it from your friends, you get it from TV, you get it from, just trial and error, what you get introduced to. And because nobody formally teaches you that, how to choose. And then a lot of times, some people do teach their children how to choose, but they're choosing based off of their pain and their experience. Like maybe a mother is pushing her daughter, you want a football player, you don't want nobody, or you got a guy has to make this much money, or they're passing on ideas based off of their experience or their fears or their trauma or their whatever. But we're not taught how to go inside and learn about who we are, what we need at this point in our lives, and then how to choose a mate that would complement me where I am right now, because I know who I am. So let's start there. You've got to know who you are first. And then once you know who you are, then you can understand what do I need. And because the idea of relationship is so new, and the reason why I say it's new is less than 100 years old, this whole romantic idea. Because before, you got married because these two families need to come together and share resources, or you moved out west and so you needed a wife, you needed some children that could plow these fields, or what I'm saying. So the reason that people got together in historically has not been because, oh, I love him so much, he's my wife, I love her. That's new. So, because the reason that people got together in the past, which was contractual and transactional, we've gotten away from that and into, Valentine's Day and wedding rings and things that have been promoted by capitalists to make money. So now I got to have a diamond ring. That wasn't even a thing until a jewelry store made that up. Google that. They
yeah,
decided, okay, how do we sell these rings? And so now you don't love me unless I'm looking at how big this rock is you're putting on my head. That didn't even exist before. They had bands that, like I'm married. Here's a nail, put it around there. So all of that to say that because we didn't get taught how to handle this romantic idea of love successfully, we've got all these made up ideas that we get from books, from TVs, the movies, all this stuff. And so we continually pick people that we think will fulfill this narrative of whatever our idea is. And like I said, in my first marriage, my idea of love was a guy who was jealous, who was possessive, who was always in my phone, who always, because he loved me, he wanted me so much, he don't even want me out his side. So that's where I got that from. And until you get exposed to awareness that is beyond that, that's the field you'll continue to run in, and you'll get rid of this guy. Oh, he was awful, but you'll go date him again, or you'll
mm,
date her again, in a different eye color, hair color, but it'll be that same story.
let me ask you a question. When it comes to relationships, when you were dating, like say when you were like a teenager, maybe when you're like 18, 19 or whatever, did you ever hear women say that they had to have a man who made six figures? Like, have you ever heard that? Like in real life and not on the internet?
So you mean, are you asking me that today, or are you asking me did I hear
Uh,
that when I was younger, or what?
yeah, when you were younger. Like, yeah, when you were young.
No. Um well, I mean, I guess there were different places that I met different people throughout my journey into adulthood. So saw and heard different things. But, I have met that family where the mom was trying to get her daughter to date the basketball player guy or the football player. So that's a thing. Um, I was brought up in the church, so I was just taught to get married. Don't be living
Okay.
in sin.
Right.
You can't be fornicating. So my thing was to get married so I could have sex with this guy and not be going to hell. So that was what drove me. That was it. Like, will he go to church with me? When you saved, you got to get saved if you want to be with me. And so he was like, okay, I'll get saved. And so, so it's different experiences that people go through. But as an adult now in more recent years, because of
I don't
the
know what's
the
going. I
uh-oh.
think the internet had kind of stopped. Can you? Are you good? Can you see? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I see you. I hear you.
Okay, cool. And I'm gonna edit all this too, so don't worry about
Oh,
it.
okay.
But please continue. Please continue.
Oh, well, where did I leave out that you lost me?
Where you said that you were trying not to go to hell, and
Oh.
that's why y'all had got married because you were in a church and everything like that.
Yeah, so I was in the church, and so that you was scared to go to hell, so you had to get married. I mean, so it's just, but as in recent years, as women are showing up more and more in the workplace, then the expectation of money has risen, and you'll see that now where women are, wanting a guy that can bring in a certain amount, or and they're kind of, it's not even about love in that situation. They're going back more to the contractual way of, so I'll be with you, I'll be pretty, and I'll stay in shape, I'll have you some kids, but you got to pay for my lifestyle. So there's so many forms of contracts and agreements that people are making as it relates to relationship that have so many different outcomes depending on what the person is looking for when they go into it.
Hmm. Do you think that this current generation, let's just say like millennials. I'm a millennial. So
Hmm.
do you think this current generation, because from what I've read, women outnumber men like 14 to 1.
Okay.
And I even read a statistic that out of four out of four black women, one will only get married. So where do you see the state of relationships as a whole? And it's like a two-parter when it comes to black relationships, and then when it comes to relationships, period. Do you think with like the introduction of, or with the popular pop with tricking and prostitution becoming very popular, and AI dolls becoming very popular, like where do you see like the state of human relationships going?
Hmm. Well, that's why my recent focus has been primarily on relationship because we're humans. Okay.
Mhm.
So relationship is never going to go away because we're social creatures. And in order for the race to continue, somebody's going to have to
Right.
procreate somewhere. So, so it's going to be that, that's never going to go away. What you will have and what we're seeing is a cultural expression of all these different ways of being and showing up and having relationship or romance. I'll say romance, but relationship is never going to go away. And because relationship is only one word, agreement, right? That's all relationship is agreement. So and so I'll give you an example. If I agree to to get on my hands and knees and be your footstool for you, then you've got to do XYZ, whatever for me. And as long as we both show up, is I show up on my knees and you show up doing the stuff I need you to do, we will be in relationship and we will be happy. No matter what the relationship. So even though relationships may change, you can be, I may be bisexual or I may be trans, but I'm with so we're seeing all kinds of variations of people coupling and getting into a relationship, but relationship is going to be the same. It's only one word. It's agreement. So the agreement is you're going to have all kinds of weird agreements, and I will support anybody's agreement as long as it does not, as long as it does not bring pain or suffering to someone outside of the arrangement. And I can't even say inside because that's an agreement. Some people, agree to that. Yeah. So as long as you're not, so to answer your question, we're in a state in history where sexual expression, love expression is showing up all kinds of different ways. But if you look back, this is just a new iteration of the way it used to be. If you look at back in Roman times, where it was whatever. Okay. And the men who went to war, they all had their own little boys that were their sex toys, and that was the norm. You just knew that was his boy, and nobody did. So it was whatever, anything went. They had the orgies, everybody could be with anybody. And so then, as time went along, people was like, oh no, that's uncivilized. And then you had Christianity come in, and then you had Catholicism, and then you had where, now we got to not do all this bad stuff, and we got to be religious and stuff. And so now what you're seeing is us sliding back to that free for all. Now you're seeing all kinds of stuff again, and it's showing up in different ways, and it's just human nature. But all that to say that relationship will never go away. And so what's changing is the way that people relate and how they feel fulfilled. And it's a space and time. I don't see the way things are going as being anything permanent, because things like this, just the ebb and flow goes up and down historically. Sooner or later, it will, we'll go back to some kind of pilgrim time again. So right now we're just in one of those spaces of time where sexual expression is just showing up all kinds of different ways. I'll say it that way to be fair and nice about it.
Okay. So when it comes, okay. So it seems like you said, the relationship's gonna be here to the end of time.
Yes.
What are some of the red flags in these relationships that people, like some of the earliest red flags that people tend to ignore when getting into these relationships, and what inevitably cause their downfall? What do
Yeah.
people tend to, because I know guys that give a pass to, if she's pretty, a pretty girl can get away with a lot of stuff. So
hmm
what are some of the red flags that you've seen over the time you've been doing your work?
Well, it's like I said, relationship is one word. It's agreement, right? So,
Mhm.
um, problem happens with three scenarios. I thought we agreed. I thought we agreed because I agreed. I thought you agreed, but you didn't really agree. So that's one. Or we agreed, but I changed my mind. I don't agree anymore, but you still agree. Or I agree all by myself. You wasn't even in the picture. And I just came up with the whole thing. I told you this is what it was. So I'll give you examples of each of those scenarios. So I was just watching an episode of well, it was an episode on TV, but I've seen this in real life. Like somebody I'm counseling is kind of going through the same thing. Female meets a guy. She wants to get married. Her clock is ticking. She meets some guy in prison, right? He gets out. He promises her all this stuff. He gets out. He don't have nothing right now. He's not even bringing anything to the table. He doesn't have anything to bring because he's coming out of prison. But he done told you all the stuff. He done wrote you all the letters, and when you came to meet, he promised you the world, and he was gonna this, that, and the third. He promised you all that stuff, right? Soon as he gets out, he don't have any of it to deliver. So the girl says, "Oh no, don't worry about it. I got it." She buys the ring, she buys the house, she buys the clothes, she pays for the wedding, she does the this, the that, the that. She does everything because she got it. I got a job. I don't need this money. I'm a woman. Da, da, da. I just need a man. So you showed up as the guy. Well, the guys went along with it all because she's, whatever, but and he shows up, maybe even marries her. Maybe she gets that far and he marries her. But his real intention's gonna come out at some point, right? Where he's cheating. Now he's not coming home, or he gets out and ghosts you all together because all he really wanted to be with this girl over here. So it's the variations of agreement that didn't happen or you thought it happened that causes things to fall apart, right? Or we both, when we got married, I did love you, but now it's 5 years later and I'm doing this other thing, and now I met Tony, and I can't help it, but for where I am. We have things in common. Me and you we don't even go out anymore. We don't this anymore. We don't. So you're not fulfilling what I need for me to be in agreement. And matter of fact, I got a new agreement. Can you live up to this? No, you can't. So now it's just whenever we can't keep up with the relationship, I mean, with the agreement, or the agreement changes, or somebody didn't really agree, that's when you see the downfall. And people, to answer your flags question, is people will tell you, they will show you at various steps of the way that they're not doing this stuff. So if you're seeing messages on their phone, you seeing pictures, and they're why are you ignoring that? Because he said he wanted to be with me. So now you're going to forever be chasing this thing he said. But the red flag is the proof. The proof is that he's not just talking to you. He's not just being with you. He's not showing up. He's not doing the stuff he said. He promised it, but he didn't mean it. And we ignore that. Or to your point about the pretty girl, she's beautiful. All I need you to do is just be beautiful. I was sure to shower you with everything. Just be with me. But she's not just with you. She's with this other guy too. And now you got to chase her and see where she at and where she's at working. So, it's ignoring the reality that because we're chasing the agreement that we want to have, but that other person hasn't bought into, or they change their mind about it and we ignore it. That's the hardest thing I have to overcome with trying to counsel people, is to get them out of the delusion of that idea that is gone. They can't let it go for some reason.
Is that emotional engineering? And I mean, would you consider that emotional engineering?
So emotional engineering, that is something that I teach. So emotional engineering is when you actually engineer. But you're right though. That's a version of it. But it's doing it in a way that's not based in your reality. It's based in your fantasy. Right? So you can do righteous engineering, emotional engineering, where you have determined that, okay, I need this, I need a mate that's calm, I need a mate that is stable, I need a mate that is this, and then you go out and you only talk to people who fit this criteria. Let's start there. If you're not stable, you don't have a job, you don't this, then you can't even talk to me. But if you got that, then now I can talk to you. And then based off of that, then we look to see, do we have chemistry? Do we have common interest? Do we this, so that's engineering, means that you are proactively creating the reality that you want to see. In this other situation, people have already wrote the story, the narrative, the ending, but the other person is not in that journey with them. They're in it by themselves. And for whatever reason, they can't see or won't see because they want that ending so badly they won't see that the other person is not in it with them. So they allow that person to cheat on them continually. You know anybody like that? Everybody know that he got so and so on the side, but nobody saying that. I mean, and then they created an agreement that, and this is gonna sound crazy, but it's the agreement. Um, Look, if you keep lying to me and cheating on me, I will look the other way as long as you keep lying to me every time I catch you and promise me that you won't do it again. And they're like, oh, okay, no problem. I'll lie to you. What you need me to cry to? Do you need some tears? What you need to make it feel real? Because I can give you that too. And so that becomes that new arrangement. And people live like that. It's crazy.
They say a beautiful lie is better than the ugly truth.
See? That's a song.
They say- Yeah, they say a beautiful lie is better than the ugly truth. And it's people that I feel like a lot of people do be knowing better. And I just feel like one, they just be comfortable. And then sometimes they just don't care. Like I work with a lot of women, and it's amazing when you work with a lot of women how like you hear them really talk, especially at night, about
Oh
their
wow.
mates. And boy, if I didn't have confidence, I wouldn't trust another female walking this planet. Because I've worked with
Woo.
every single type of woman, all races, all walks of life. And if I didn't have confidence and knowing that every woman wasn't like that, boy, I would be messed up out here in the game because I've heard some horrific things. Uh,
Give me an
being in the
example.
oh, I was working with this one nurse and she told me that her husband is such a loser. She's been cheating on him with his brother for like the last 3 years.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay.
Um, and I've heard them talk freely about
Mhm.
the men that they slept with and all that kind of stuff and this and that, like stuff. I didn't grow up hearing that um, because I never, adults didn't talk around us. So hearing,
Mhm.
especially when I went to nursing school, hearing how a lot of girls talk when they become comfortable,
Mhm.
it could be very alarming. Um, Especially if you don't have that confidence within yourself, because and I believe this is where all this. I don't know if you're familiar with like red pill content,
Mhm.
um, but I believe that's what sparked that because when you finally do hear some truth, I'm not gonna call it total truth, but when you hear some truth, it'll make you look at things a little different. But obviously, I know everybody don't get down like that, but it's enough to make you be like, wow, and um, you definitely got to have confidence out here in the game when it comes to your relationship and everything like that. But I do think a lot of people just be in situations where they just don't care no. And I think that's a horrible place to be in.
Well, that's where most people are. And that's the sad part. I would say, out of the just going to the marriage statistic where they say like 50% of marriages end in divorce. Well, of those 50% of the people who are still there, I would venture to say a good 40% of them are not happy or in some form of some um state of just making it because they don't want to leave because it's financially, or the kids, or I didn't put so much time into this, or whatever reasons why they stay in a situation that's not healthy. And so they go and look for ways to cope by cheating or throwing themselves into work or drugs or alcohol or whatever. People find ways to cope with pain. All of those things are ways to try to escape your pain. And so people self-medicate with all kinds of stuff. They try to, replace the emptiness, the pain of the, loneliness or whatever. So they try to overcome that with some substitute because you're not getting the what you think you need from your partner. So you do all this other stuff to try to fill in the gaps. But all that, if you chose well the first time, See, people are mad. They're bitter. The red pill people, the incels or whatever they call those people. The reason that those people exist and the reason why they feel the way that they feel is because they had some idea of how they thought relationships should be and got disappointed, or they saw something, or they heard something. Like you said, they heard how women really are, and they saw somebody, this woman was stealing, the guy was going to work, and you could see somebody coming in as soon as he left, or he's a trucker, as soon as he left, her boyfriend, you saw stuff like that, or whatever, and that goes against what your ideal of what relationships should be. And so it sours the way you look at it, and can do that. But what if you didn't deal with none of those kind of people? What if you didn't? What if you didn't deal with none of those kind of people? What if you only dealt with somebody who has a vision for being a nurse, or a business entrepreneur, who wants to get ahead just like you, who wants to change the world just like you, who wants to be in a monogamous relationship because you do, who wants to have children because you do, who goes to church and you do, who if you got with those kind of people that had the same goals and intentions and things that you do, then you'd have a much better outcome than what we don't do that. That's not how we find relationships. That's not how we hook up. And you said it earlier. She pretty.
Can
He's
you hear me?
fine. Oh, you froze.
Hello?
Yeah, you frozen. Can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. You back now. I don't know what
Yeah, well,
happened.
you're frozen on my end.
Am I still frozen?
Yeah, you're still frozen. But I
Oh,
can hear you though. So I guess
let's see. Give me 1 second. Try that.
okay, there we go. Yeah, I can see you now.
Okay. All right, cool. Sorry about that. This Wi-Fi, I don't know what's going on in this area, but we'll get past that. Um, so yeah, that I mean that's interesting though. I was gonna ask you, when it comes to relationships as well, do you feel social media has played a part in the dynamics of relationships? And if so,
Yes.
how do you feel it's played that part?
Social media has wreaked hell and havoc because what you see on social media is what people portray, and the only thing I'm going to portray is what I want you to see, and that
Mm,
does not have to be what's in reality whatsoever. So if I'm seeing this and oh, they look so happy, oh, they on the trips, oh, he bought her this for her birthday, oh, they doing the dance together, they doing the oh, they look so happy. So when you see all this stuff, then you think that's what's real, and then that sets an expectation for you, and you know it's not real for them, and it probably won't be real for you either. So we have these
right.
unrealistic expectations based off of what the fantasies that we see on TV. Instead of now it just being on TV, now it's on social media. And so when you even now in relationships, people go to social media. Like I would never, ever, 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 ever go online, go live, and say horrible things about my partner to the world for them to weigh in, like, dislike, comment. I would never expose my loved one to that kind of ridicule. But now that's normal. That you put all your business out there and people give you their opinions, and respond and react. It's so, and it's all in a world that doesn't really exist. None of that is real. It's
Mhm.
it's
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 a
a
highlight reel.
yeah, it's not real. So because we're not, being socially responsible by picking the right people, we're deciding what a real relationship should look like based off of what we see on social media and TV, and that's not even real. It's
Mm,
just like women chasing, what their idea of what they think beauty is, trying to, starve themselves to get skinny, or wearing these wigs and, doing all these things, putting all this stuff in their lips, and, wearing all these eyelashes, and you because somebody told you that's what beauty was. So I don't even get my nails done anymore. and it's not that I'm against getting your nails done, but and if something happened and I wanted to get my nails done, I'd go get them done. But you're not gonna tell me I'm raggedy because my nails aren't done. That does not define me. I define me. I define what's beautiful to me. I define how I want to show up and look to the world. I define what looks. So I'm always covered up. You'll never see me with hanging all out. No, you'll never see that because I don't need to show that to the world to be beautiful or to be sexy or to whatever. I have men come up to me all the time, and I'm like, good God, I'm almost like the Muslim people. And they think, hey, how you doing? I'm like, oh goodness, but it's the way I show up. It's my energy that draws people. So, what you see in the world on the social media gives people a skewed sense of reality, and that skewed vision shows up in how they engage and relate with people in relationship. You can't even be one-on-one with your mate because you got to be on live while y'all eating. The world, you got to have an audience for everything that you do. So yeah, it has a negative impact in my opinion.
And that's what I be trying to tell people. Like even when I asked you earlier about the whole six figure thing, I just feel like some of these people have such unrealistic expectations when it comes to uh, what a partner is supposed to have. And I feel like a lot of that is relatively new because it's brought on by the internet. But when you tell somebody that, oh well, he got to have this, he gotta have make $100,000 to deal with me.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy because your baby daddy didn't have $100,000 when he was with you. And I don't think people, especially like I just don't think a lot of people can really relatively understand how much money $100,000 is. Like people say, oh well, that's not a lot of money. Most of those people saying that have never made $100,000 ever, ever, ever in their life. The average person only makes $47,000. The average black man
Mm,
only makes $44,000. Most
really?
Americans don't have $1,000 in their bank account. So this whole narrative that it's not a lot of money, and maybe in the grand scheme of things, it's not, but people don't know. That's why I say, like, I was trying to tell like the girls at my job, like nurses, yes, nurses make a good amount of money, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they expect every single man to make that kind of money because they're making that kind of money. But I said that's unrealistic because most men don't hit six figures until their 50s. You got a lot of young nurses coming in
Mm.
now. They coming in the gate making 70, $80,000 a year, and they want somebody that's 22, a 22-year-old guy to make that kind of bread. Most men don't figure out who they are till they late 30s, 40s. You know what I'm saying? But like you said, social media, I think it just shows highlight reels. I think people have no idea what they're asking for because if you do, and if you got a man making that kind of money, 9 times out of 10, he don't have a lot of time. And that's why I say you need to be careful what you ask for because you might get it and you might not like it when you do get it because it's a price for everything. So,
Oh yes. Oh yes. But see, that goes back to the agreement. If you look at the whole Diddy situation and what um that beautiful girl allowed him to do to her for so many years in order for her to be with the man of his stature and to enjoy the lifestyle that he was able to provide. Um, I heard somebody say something recently that I thought it rang true to me. I'll never know. If I ever see her one day in real life, I'll ask her. But they said that they think the only reason that Cassie ever even left Diddy wasn't because of the beatings, wasn't because of the none of that, was because he would never marry her and he would never give her children. And she wanted to be married and have children. And he wouldn't give her that. Maybe some truth to that because he didn't marry her and he didn't give her any children. And now she's got what, like three, all of a sudden, like back to back to back. So, and she got married. So maybe that was really what she wanted. So my point is, when you talk about, people saying, well, they got to make this amount of money or they whatever, it comes with the price. And I have to agree to whatever if you're going to offer me this, it goes back like to the football player. They know, them wives know you're not going to be the only one. So don't even come up in here with that. You already know when they travel, it's going to be the I'm saying hippies, the groupies, it's going to be the girls, all the girls. Don't think it's like, don't even come over here with that. But you get the house, you get the pictures on TV and stuff. So it's like, it's an agreement though. The president of the United States, I don't think there has ever been a single president, I don't care who it was. I want to say Obama because I love Obama so much. But outside of him, and we're going to leave him in the questionable ball because I like to put him there. None of them been faithful. I mean, they used to have women come up to the White House. If you look back historically, so it's the women who are their wives know that this is what comes with this lifestyle, but it's an agreement. So as long as people agree to it, then they're in relationship. And it's only when somebody doesn't keep their end of the agreement or somebody changes their mind about the agreement, or I never agreed in the first place, I just told you I did. That's when those things come up, that's when there's a problem. Other than that, they'll stay together. Believe it or not.
We're gonna have to do a part 2 because we literally, well, not literally, but I just had a conversation with my mom about Obama. And that's funny you should bring that up. She loved Obama too. I got nothing against him. But that is so funny that you bring that up. You said hopefully he didn't. That's funny. Well, I pray for this generation and the generations to come because we just don't know. And I think a lot of people are just trying to build a plane as they fly. And they look to, like you said earlier, social media, they look to it for guidance. And when you only see the highlight reels, it can give a false narrative because you don't know what that person going through behind closed doors. My girl say all the time, she be like, I never try to walk in nobody's shoes because I don't know what they've been through. So, and I think that's something to take with you. But I just wanted to let you know that it was a pleasure having you on. I don't want to keep you too long.
You.
We definitely gonna have to do a part 2 because I've definitely enjoyed this conversation. Will you
Well,
please?
thank you.
Absolutely. Will you
Can I say
please
this
let the
one
people
last
know?
thing?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
So what I want to share, and I want people to leave with, is that because I don't want people to leave or walk away with, yes, it's all messed up, there's no hope, because there is hope, right? I wouldn't allow you to be my nurse, my hospice care nurse, if you didn't go to nursing school. I wouldn't allow you to administer my medication if you didn't learn how to do it, how to understand doses, how to understand, how to care for me. There is help. You can get relationship advice. You can get relationship training, and that's what I do, is offer people how to ready themselves for that, how to what questions and things do they need to ask, and how to get clear about what they need, and how to identify those things when they see it, and then how to enter into agreements that serve them. So I just want people to know that there is help. We're not just out there. You can't, but you have to look for that. You wouldn't want a lawyer that didn't go to lawyer school. You wouldn't want, what I'm saying? Even
Right.
policemen have to go through training. There is help available to help you to navigate the relationship waters.
I wanted to ask, so if somebody wanted to come to you and come to you for your service, what kind of mindset would they need to be able to get the full range of what you're offering?
That's the best question anybody's asked me in a long time, I think, because I don't help everyone and I can't help everyone. Because of what you're saying right there. You just have to know I need help. Will you help me? The people I can't help are the people who every time I say something, they got to say something back, but that's why they did this. Or they want to explain why they're doing what they're doing. They want to defend it. They want to fight for it. They want to even though it hasn't gotten them anywhere, the person they want is not there, or the person they is cheating on them, they still want to fight for, defend, and explain why what their way is what they need to do, and they don't want to hear, or they're not willing to hear, um, that there's something, another way of looking at it, or some work that they can do to get a different outcome. Those people I can't help because they already know. So I'm like, well, keep doing what you're doing, and you'll keep getting what you got. But all you have to do is know. You don't have to know what the answers are. You don't even have to try to know. All you have to know is, I need help. Can you help me, please? This is what I've been doing. It don't work. What can I do differently? And then I can help.
So if somebody wanted to get in contact with you, how would they do it?
They can hit me up on Instagram, at the Recoverist _5, on Facebook, the Recoverist, on YouTube. It's the Recoverist something. But
Okay.
if they
I'm
hit
gonna
me
have
up
all
on
your links down at
Instagram,
the bottom.
yeah, or TikTok. You can hit me up, the Recoverist on TikTok, and then there are links to, if you want to book a consultation, if you want to book time with me, you can there are links to actually hook up with me directly, or you can DM me and reach out, and we can connect, and I can set up time with you to see where we go from there. Because I can't help everybody. I don't have the bandwidth to do that. So, but the people who really need my help, they hear my voice, they hear my soul calling to them, and they'll respond. And I'm here. Everybody else, if you just take some nuggets and go and maybe consider some things differently and it helps you, then I'm grateful for that opportunity. But those who want to reach out can reach out to me on social media and connect with me.
All righty. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that was the Recoverist. We're gonna definitely
Yes.
have her back. I really do appreciate you coming on the channel and giving your
Thank
insight
you.
and giving your wisdom. I greatly appreciate it. Um, and like I said, y'all make sure y'all go follow her. All her links are gonna be at the bottom. And until next time, if you don't do nothing else, get paid, young nurse, get paid. Peace.
Peace.